All right, guys, how is everyone doing? How's everyone doing today? Good. I see the thumbs up. I see the waves. Camera's on. Awesome. It is your option if you want to have the camera on today or if you want to turn it off. But it's great when I ask a question, everyone get it. Like if I can see some head nods or thumbs up in the Zooms, that will be super helpful for me. You guys do have a sign in. So Mr. Young has posted that for you guys. So make sure that you click on that link and sign in. Okay. And feel free, you guys, unmute your mic whenever you have a question. You can also drop it in the chat as well. Okay. So I'm pretty easygoing with all of those things. You should be on laptop or computer. If any of you by chance are on a phone, it's going to be a little bit harder to do. We can make it work, but laptop or computer. And then your favorite method to take notes. Like I said, I have a sheet for you guys where you're going to be jotting down some ideas. That's totally going to be yours. You can write anything you want on it. But if you're a paper pencil kind of person, then go ahead and make sure that you have that as well. So today we're going to be talking about the station rotation model, which is one of many blended learning models that we could use to hopefully make it a better experience for you and your students. So this is one of the options that is out there for you as far as instructional models, okay? All right. Okay, so my name is Lucy Aguilar Cruz. I'm your Learning Innovations / Instructional Technology Coordinator. Space. Okay, all of these things. Okay, so I want you to keep in mind, and if you need to like scroll back up through the chat, if you need to kind of look at some of the different answers in here. Okay, it's too quiet. That's funny. Yes. The building relationships, the communication, the amount of accountability, right? What we're going to be doing today is we're going to look at a blended learning model called station rotation. And the heart of that model is that you're able to break up your groups smaller, okay? And because you're working with smaller groups, you can get a little bit more one-to-one. Someone had mentioned the facial expressions. This could be a place where it would be easier to turn on cameras because you don't have so many going on at once. You don't have as much bandwidth that's going to be used when you turn on cameras, things like that. So you guys are going to be scratching the surface with this today because it is a big topic. There's so many other models as well. So this is just a way to introduce it to you so that you have an idea of what it is and how it works. If some of you are interested in starting with it, I'm going to be giving you some building blocks for that. And then from there, if you're like, I like this part, that's what this is all about. Today, we're going to talk station rotation. We're going to take some notes on this that might look familiar. It's the copy that you just made for yourself. Any of you joining in late, make sure you grab the copy right down here in the bottom left corner in that yellow square. After you get some time to read and take notes, we are going to have a little bit of discussion, hopefully in the chat, maybe unmuting your mics too. We'll see how that goes. And then I'll kind of set you up with some building blocks for the station rotation model. So we'll get all of that done today. Okay. All right, so station rotation. I do not know if this looks familiar to you guys or not because we had a video made of like 3 different blended learning models that you guys could use in your classroom. So I didn't want to bore you showing you the video again, although I did link it in your notes. So if you need to see it, it'll be there for you. But basically what the idea of a station rotation model is you have different stations in your classroom and the students move through them. Now, we can't physically move because of everything that's happening right now, but we can create digital stations where the students have to go to, okay? And they'll have different types of activities in each one. The key component to this is having that teacher-led station. And you'll notice on this graphic here, we have our face-to-face learners, which are the kids at the desk with the laptops, and then you have your home learners, the ones with the little house, okay? Typically, majority of the time, our home learners are a bigger group right now, right? So we can have those guys split up and then our face-to-face kids as a group as well. Ideally, you want anywhere from 3 to 5 stations, but when you are first rolling this out and when you are first doing this with your students, you want 2. Okay, you want to have 2 groups and you're going to have one group be your face-to-face, whether that's 5 kids, okay, or 6 kids, however many you have. And then the other group is going to be your online group. And the reason why you're going to do this is because it's going to be a lot easier for you the very first time. And then eventually what you start to get into is like, all right, that online group, I can break them up even more. I'm feeling comfortable with this. And so are the kids. And then so now you can have 3 groups. And then once you get even more comfortable with that, then you start looking at, all right, true groups here. These kids need to be broken up based on their progress, based on the data that I'm collecting at the end of all of these lessons. And so you might have some mixed groups. You might have a couple of face-to-face kids in there with an online learning group. But that's the very last stage. That is the very last stage of what you're going to be working on and what you're going to be focusing on, okay? Very beginning, keep it very basic. You have your face-to-face group, and then you have your online group. So what you would do is you would take that face-to-face group first. That would be the first group that you start with, and you get them going, and you get them to start doing that guided lesson, that teacher-led lesson, okay? Get them going, get them set up, do the teacher-led part with them. Your other group, what they're doing is they're going to be working on their independent work. So your online group is going to have, okay, station, whatever station it is, and they're doing their independent work in there. So they could be watching an instructional video. They could be completing, maybe reading an article and taking some notes down, jotting some things down. It doesn't have to be computer related either. You can tell them, like, go around your house, take pictures of an example of math. It could be something like that. Go talk to someone in your house, your dog, whoever. Talk to someone about what you're learning or what you covered yesterday. It could be really casual. It could be offline. You know, it could be hardcore independent work too, where they're reading and answering questions. It's up to you how you want to do that. And we're going to give you some time to kind of explore different activity ideas you could do. But then what you do is you just flip-flop them. And then so that online group, you give them a set time to meet with you. Okay, at 11 o'clock, here's your Zoom link. This is what you need to do. And then those kids join in with you. Okay, so that's kind of just a rough little overview of it. I want to give you the opportunity to read about it so it can kind of soak in a little bit more, so you can get an idea of how to do this. And remember, it isn't set in stone like, okay, I need to have 5 groups. I need to be able to do this. You don't have to. You can pull this and make this work for you and what you have going on in your classroom right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want to give you time to read about this, to explore it, okay? So if you will, go ahead and open up your document that you made a copy of today. Okay, looks like, oh, and I'm sorry, yes, instructional video, key component to station rotation. So we'll talk about that more later, okay? All right, so I want you to pull out the sheet that you made a copy of. Go ahead and open that up, okay? So get that out there. Does anybody not have it? Do you need the link for it? It's right here in yellow if you need that, okay? All right. Thank you for posting that in there, Mr. Young. Thank you. Okay. All right. So you have this document. What you're going to be doing is the biggest piece is reading the blog post. Okay. So you can click there on the blog post and it's going to open up for you. So if you want to go ahead and click that so it opens up for you. I'm still going to talk about this document though. Right in here, the little post-it notes, just click in there. That's where you're going to type key points, key things that are standing out to you. Just write them in there on the yellow side. Okay. So you'll be doing that. The video. Okay, so what I've seen with the video so far is sometimes it takes forever to load. Don't stay stuck on that. Okay, move on. If that video is taking forever, it's okay. It's just a quick little overview of station rotation. Okay, not a big deal if you miss it. Okay, but main thing is to read that blog post and then fill in some key ideas in these yellow notes, okay? And I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes to kind of look at that. There's some links that kind of go off to other things, so I'll let you do that. And then what we'll do is I'll give you some time to think about questions and we'll fill in the screen side when we come back. Now, one thing that I do wanna show you, if you take a look at the blog post that I'm having you read, if you scroll down and read it, I want you to read from the beginning, okay? And then about right here, this is where you can stop, okay? So you're gonna stop right here after this blue one. If you're like, I do not like this at all, and you're like, ooh, this looks good, and you wanna read this, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. But really for today, like all you need to do is just read up to here. But she has 2 other blended learning models that are in here. So if you're interested in them, like go ahead and read them, okay? But really you only have to read up to here. And this video right here just kind of goes over a template for layouts that I have linked for you guys as well. So that's what this is right here. So if you're like, there's no sound to this, or I can't hear anything that's in here, that's okay. This is just a template. This is a Google Slide template right here. So all you have to do is read through the station rotation model, okay? So I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes right now for you guys to go through, read that article, and I want you to write down your key concepts that you're gathering, things you like. I want you to write it in here, okay? If you have a question as you're reading, I want you to put it in the green side, all right? Okay, so I'm gonna give you all 10 minutes. And if you have a question, just unmute your microphone for me, okay? All right, guys. Okay, go ahead and finish up reading that final sentence, typing out whatever you need to type on there. I'm just going to pull back the curtain a little bit for you to just kind of see the teacher side to this, right? Right now, you guys were doing the independent practice. So what I was doing during that time, I could have been working with my face-to-face kids, okay? If I had you in Google Classroom, I can go in and open up each of your documents, not all of them, but I could kind of pick and choose, because I could kind of look at my camera, like who's working, who's not, right? I could kind of work that camera reel around, and I can jump in. I could jump into your documents. I could type you out comments there. If I'm working in Zoom, I can go in and I can pull you into a one-on-one really quick if we need to talk about something, pull you back out, put you back in the chat. The other thing too, like what I could do is just, you know, have you unmute your mic. I had a couple of people who privately chatted with me on here, and I was able to answer questions as well. So those are just some different ways that you can kind of go in and help and support your students. Like during that independent practice time, you could be doing that. Now, you have to find a system that works for you. Whatever it is, that however you want your students to ask you questions, if it's unmuting their mic so that you can get the attention when you're working with that face-to-face group, if that's too disruptive for you, then what you could do is you could have a Google Doc up where the students can write the question. And what you do is you project that document on the screen. So then as you're working with your face-to-face kids, you see a question pop up there, you can look at it and be like, I can address it real quick, or just hold on, you know, things like that. But the thing is that you coach the kids, you start training them, you start training them on what system that you want to do and that you want to use, okay? All right, so now what I want to do is I want to give you some time on the I wonders. Write some questions down. What are some questions that you have, okay? So I want you to write them in there, just jot them in. I'm gonna give you about 1 minute to do that. And then we're gonna have some discussion because we're gonna be putting those in the chat. So about 1 minute to get some questions down, and then we'll drop them in the chat. All right, let's go ahead and stop, wrap up your ideas. Okay, now what I want you guys to do in the chat, let's have some discussion. Okay, let's raise some of those questions. What were some of the things you noticed? What are some of your wonders, or what are the questions that you have? Can you please put them in the chat for me? Let's kind of discuss this. I know for me, one of the big ahas as I was reading it is that whole thing that it says, like, we wish we could give you like one solution, right, for this. It hasn't been done. It's because this concurrent model that we have going on right now with face-to-face kids and online kids, we have not done that in a K-12 setting. So we don't have enough research behind anything. We do have research behind blended learning models when you're incorporating technology in the classroom, but we don't have it when you have face-to-face kids and you have kids working from home as well. Okay, so that was like a big, like, oh, yeah, it's so true. That is why, guys, we're so stressed. Okay, that is why, you know, as your day goes by, you're changing and you're moving things, and this is why you're so tired at the end of the day. Okay, all right, so I want you guys to drop your ideas in, you know, any type of questions you have, anything like that, put them in the chat here. Oh yes, Miss McCullum actually wanted, she brings up Nearpod on this. Making your session interactive, Nearpod is the way to go. So that was one that I wanted to do with you guys, but because I have the free account, like, I hit my limit, but y'all have the unlimited one. So, I mean, you guys can definitely do that. Yes, Nearpod would be a great way to make your lesson interactive and a great way to collect data. Okay, great way to collect data at the end of it. Very good point. Yes, the teacher's focusing on providing human connection. You're going to be working with those smaller groups, so that's going to allow you to do that. It's going to let you do that. I want to show this to you guys real quick. This is, I don't know, do y'all see it backwards? Blended Learning in Action. It's a great book. This is Catlin Tucker, who is all about station rotation models, different blended learning models. It's practical, guys. When you get into this book, like, she gives you ways to start implementing it and using it in your classroom. Her newest book now is Balanced with Blended Learning, but this is a great one to start with. If you're someone that's already doing this kind of stuff, I suggest the yellow book, the Balanced book. Eventually what this leads to is when you have a lot of groups and you have groups based on the way students are progressing through your class, when you have those groups set up, eventually that teacher-led station doesn't just become like a lecture part. It's not that anymore. She does a lot of side-by-side grading where, you know, English teachers, we can knock out those essays right there with the kids in those small groups. Really good stuff if you have not read it before. It's really good. Okay, notice the research piece. So for your students that log on later in the day, so that's a really good question. So you want to build your stations to be that way. So if you'll notice in a little bit here, we'll talk about the building blocks, which are on slide 2 of what you guys have there where you took your notes on slide 2. There's some different examples on how to post it in Google Classroom. So what you do is you have your stations posted there so your students can work through those. Now during that teacher-led station, what you're going to put in place of that is going to be a recording of what you did during that teacher-led station. Okay, and then you provide a spot for the kids to ask questions, whether it's through Flipgrid, which I think is like the easiest way, or if it's a Google Doc where the students write in a question. It could even be maybe if you have them working through Google Classroom, but it's all about finding your system and your way that you want to do that, where those kiddos can still ask those questions even though they're joining synchronously. Okay, really good question. All right. Let's see. Okay, you like the templates? All right. Okay, so let's kind of go into those. Anything else? Anything else that you guys want to bring up or mention? And remember, the key thing with this is that this is going to be flexible for you. You make it work for you. You pull out the elements that you like. Forget what you don't like, right? Like, you don't even need to worry about it. If you're like, this is not my thing, like, I am not comfortable with this, maybe flipped model is the way to go. And that's on that blog post. It's there. I'm going to share more with you guys so that you have more information. But the thing is just pull things that you do like, because maybe you can work live with your group that whole time, right? You could have that live instruction with your online and your face-to-face kids, and then you break them up into groups to work. So your face-to-face kid group is working, your online group is working, and you have a spot for them to go to if they have questions, you know, things like that. So that's very easy to do, very simple to kind of adapt and change it around a little bit. Okay. Okay, Ms. Gano, pulling the students on the side to help them. So one of the main things, if you're in Google Classroom, as students are working in documents, you can hit comment and you can type. You can type in comment really quick on the side of their documents. You can do that right away. The other thing too is if you're using Zoom, you go into a breakout room, you assign the child to a room, and you can pull them out that way as well. Okay, so that would be, I think, quickest way is going to commenting on their documents. That's the quickest way. A little bit more of a learning curve with the breakout rooms, but once you get comfortable with breakout rooms, you'll see how easy they are. But again, with the breakout rooms, like, you don't need to do that just yet. You know, you don't need to do that just yet. Start small and then build up, and then find what you need there. Okay. Yes, Ms. Castro, trying to train the students in order to implement it. And I learned that yesterday, because yesterday what I did with that first group that I had is I put them into stations online, and it was chaotic and it was crazy. So especially because Google Drive wasn't working well. So what I did instead is I'm kind of taking you all through the flow of one and letting you know, like, this would be happening. I had you practice some independent stuff. So you're already doing that. You're coaching them on how to ask questions. You're doing all of that to get them in the routine. and then used to the verbiage too. Okay, independent work, right? Teacher led, things like that. You can call it other things, but you're doing that with them, coaching them through maybe a round of it, and do that a couple of times till you're like, all right, I think the kids are ready for this. Let's do this. They know how to ask questions. They know where to go for that. So it's all about coaching them up, and then you getting comfortable with it too, because that very first time when you do that little practice one where you're like, okay, now it's independent work, now it's group work, things like that, you're going to see all the kinks. You're going to see all the little hangups that they have where they're not getting it. Maybe color coding isn't working. Maybe they need something else. So you're going to be able to troubleshoot it. That's true teaching, right, guys? That's the art of teaching. It's all finding your flow. All finding your flow. Okay? All right. All right. Okay. And then plus, whoa, sorry, guys. And plus, if everyone is doing this too, then even better, right? Because they're getting used to it in all their classes. All right, so let me show you real quick. This is slide 2 of your work that you copied, okay? So these are just some resources to help you. These are building blocks to get you guys going. All right, we have here examples, what this would look like, okay? And I just wanna show you that the way that I do a lot of my slides, okay, so I do a lot of this where I hang things off the corner and I drop things on the side and all of that. So if you don't see it when you open it up, just know that you can go to the magnifying lens. You can go there and you can zoom out or zoom in if you need to, okay? But these are just kind of like your teacher notes right here, some of the things we talked about. But this could be an example of a guide that you would give the students that you would post in Google Classroom right here, okay? So you have this all set up. I have the template for you too. There's different templates in there, but always, feel free to make a copy, like file, make a copy if you see something you like, and, or let me know and I can share it with you. But you'll have your group set up. You'll have your station set up. And then what happens is when you switch the kids around, just highlight that whole column and then change the color of the column. Okay, so then they know, oh, okay, I'm green and now I should be in station 2. So not only you verbally telling them, but the sheet that they're using to follow the directions is also showing that. So, and I try to keep it as simple as possible. I usually go crazy like with decorations and patterns and pictures and things. So I try to keep it simple. And notice down here, oh, okay, so right in here, you're telling them what you expect them to have, objective, different things like that, the type of lesson that they're going to be doing. That's kind of more for you too, to kind of organize it. But in here, we have links to the assignments. So right here, if a student clicks here in station 1, when they click on it, it's going to take them right to the station 1, what they're going to be doing, and their document right in there. Okay, so this is an example of one. And there's a video that shows you like how to link your assignment if you're needing to do that. But then that way they could just work from this document. They don't have to worry about jumping into Google Classroom, going between screen. Like they could just work from this one and then go to that assignment, turn it in, and then they come back over here. Down here at the bottom, that's where you put your Meet links, anything else that they're going to need. So your online group, you're going to want to have the Meet link and the time. Okay, what time are they going to be there? So you'll want to have that and include that in there. And you can use icons and everything else. That's all in there for you guys. So you have all of that. There's different templates here, planning templates. I did simple. And I know some of you love fancy, so I put some fancy stuff in there for you too. I didn't make it, some other lady made it and I added her on there. So it's there for you guys if you want it, but it's a great little template for you. Activity ideas right here. This is really good if you're just like, okay, what do they do in these stations? We need ideas, right? So here's a couple. Some people have actually added some. This is a living document for you, so everyone can contribute to this. You just type in this thing, okay? Down here at the bottom, there's a list that's already been made of different things that you can do in a teacher-led station, in an online station, offline station. And of course, it's going to look different. I think the teacher that did this one was for ELA, an ELA classroom, which a lot of these things carry over. But depending on your content, you might have something different, okay? Like where would labs fall in here, things like that, So you could type that in there. So that's a living document for y'all to contribute to and share. Y'all like teamwork, okay? How to post it in your Google Classroom. So it's just a quick little how-to, links to things. So this is what a station rotation would look like if you posted it. Do you have to post it like this? No. You can do it however you want to. This is just a simple way to kind of suggest it, okay? So we have spot to take attendance, the guide that the students do, and then right in here, this is where you're putting each of your stations. So your kiddos that are learning from home, not with you at that time, they're working on it after school, this is how they can go through. They know they need to click attendance, put that they're there. They need to start here and then go from here, work from this document, okay? So just putting all that in there. And then your teacher-led station, you would pop in your video. You pop in your video for those kids, okay? All right. Instructional video, just because that's a key component to everything. That's a little working doc for you. So in there, you'll be able to watch the tips and big thing, like no longer than 5 minutes, okay? So that instructional video that you record working with your kids, chop it up, chunk it, okay? Chop it up and chunk it. So instructional video tips in here, getting started with station rotations, how you wanna be with 2 groups, if you're going to be working in Zooms, just kind of some fast tricks that will help you put the students into groups when you're doing breakout rooms. So it's all right there for you, okay? All right, so I wanted to open it up to questions. Any questions you guys might have? Again, we just scratched the surface. These are kind of the things that can get you going, get you thinking about it. Even if it's not where you formally do one, maybe you just pull elements or ideas from it. I mean, that's a win, okay? That will be a win right there. So any questions, you can type them in the chat or you can unmute your microphone. Let me know. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm here for you guys. Okay, anything that you need, if you try this out and you're like, it blew up in my face, you know, anything like that, or you're like, I really want to do it, but I just don't know, I am here for you. Okay, from planning, brainstorming, I already have someone that asked me, like, do we have any that are already made? I'm going to pull some stuff for people. So I'm already going to do that. Okay, so planning, brainstorming, you want me to come in the day you do it? And work with you and your students, that's what I'm here for, guys. So you just send me an email, tell me what you need, and I will work one-on-one with you to get this done, okay? So anything you need, I'm here to help, okay? Yes, let me drop my email in here. There we go, there's my email, okay? So yeah, copy that, put that in your notes, okay? Put it in your notes. So my email's under Elizabeth, I go by Lizzie, so, so I just wanna confuse y'all, that's all. Okay. Is this something that could go into a digital notebook? Definitely, because you could already have your guide on that digital notebook page, right? You could already have it in there, the links to everything that they need, the links to the assignments, you can put all that in there. So if you need help with that, let me know. Let me know. So I'm here to provide resources and one-on-one help, guys. Okay. So please jot that down, jot down my email. And of course, you guys will be hearing from me soon. I also have my office hours, guys, that I put out to the campuses. So I also have that, but don't hesitate. Like, send me an email, send me a couple dates and times that work for you, and we'll make a meeting. Okay. Okay. Before I leave, go ahead and please complete your exit ticket. Okay, so that is there for you. And then also session feedback. Let me know how I did, because I want to improve. So please tell me, what did I do okay, and what do I need to work on? Okay. All right, so please, we'll give you some time to set that up, and then I believe admin has a few things that they want to talk to you about. And look at that, guys, we're done. So yeah,